Is this the worst quarterback draft class we have ever seen? It may be too early to tell, but I'm not getting a great feeling about any of this year's quarterbacks. None of them truly seem to stand out. None of them truly seem to be the franchise guy for any of these teams that are going to be selecting them. But despite that, we may see at least 2 quarterbacks taken in the first round, maybe even in the top 10. We're going to see a lot of these quarterbacks selected over the 3-day draft period, but it does not mean that they're going to be lining up for success. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. Ready to break down this year's quarterback class, one that has a lot of questions surrounding it as we approach the NFL draft here in just a few days. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com. That's home to our expert picks. That's home to our weekly newsletters and tons of exclusive content there to help you get through this offseason. We are talking football with you year-round here at our channel. And that's all the more reason to subscribe, hit that notification button, check out our website so you become a member of our GE Nation and get your football fix every single day. So, again, we don't know what's in store for these quarterbacks. We're going to be breaking down maybe the top 4 here in 1 second. But, this does not feel like a elite quarterback class. Nothing like even we saw last year, where the first 3 picks in the draft were all quarterbacks with Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and Drake May, all 3 of which seem to be setting themselves up for a very successful career. Of course, Jaden Daniels had the best season out of those 3 last year. You can go through the history of the NFL draft. You can go through the recent years and see what classes were really good, what classes were really bad. 2022, just a few years ago, was a really bad draft class. Guys like Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder, Malik Willis, Matt Corral, all those guys got selected, and the best quarterback in that class was actually Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy. He ended up being the best guy. The best recent class for quarterbacks was probably back in 2020. Guys like Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, and Jalen Hurts all being selected. All of those guys' first-round picks, with the exception of Hurts, who was selected in the second round. So this is you just never know. You never know. And just because you're selected first overall or second overall doesn't mean you're going to have a better career, obviously, than a guy that could be Mr. Irrelevant. But this year's class doesn't seem to be that elite. It is evident, though, that more than likely the Tennessee Titans are going to select Cam Ward out of Miami with the number 1 overall pick. So you're going to have a quarterback selected number 1. And look, rightfully so. Cam Ward, if you're going to rank the quarterbacks here, he is the best quarterback in this draft class, at least as of right now, at least from what we have watched and what we have seen. He is the best. He has the best frame. He has the best arm. He has a ridiculous football IQ. 6'2", threw for over 4,300 yards last year with Miami, 39 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions, completed over 67% of his passes, and again, with an absolute cannon of an arm. And one of those guys that don't judge him by his height, judge him by his stature, of a guy who's very difficult to take down, does know how to extend plays just a little bit. If you go throughout his entire career, he played at Incarnate Word, he played at Washington State, and then he played at Miami. All the way back in 2021, threw for over 4,600 yards, 47 touchdowns, just 10 interceptions. That was with Incarnate Word. So again, he's a great quarterback. He can light up the defense. He can score a lot of touchdowns. He can hit his receivers at any point in the field, no matter how far, how short the throw is. He is the best quarterback in this class, but is he going to be set up for success in Tennessee? Tennessee thought they had their guy a few years ago, Will Levis. That clue didn't pan out. You've got to find a great talent, but you've also got to find the right system for them as well. Shadur Sanders is number 2, and look, he's going to get drafted, but this guy was not worthy of a jersey and number retirement at Colorado, and I'm not sure he's worthy of a top 10 pick in this draft, but he's probably going to be. More than likely, all signs are maybe pointing to him getting selected maybe by the Saints, who could trade up, who could get in there, who could end up selecting him in the top 10. You could be looking at him going as early as number 2 if the Browns want to make a run. There's a good chance that Shadur Sanders is going to be a top 10 pick, and if he's not a top 10, more likely going to be a first-round draft pick. And I'm just not sure I'm completely sold on him. Look, he put up great numbers, right? He had a decent run at Colorado. One losing season and then a decent season last year. They got destroyed in their bowl game when he played horribly in their bowl game against BYU. But he's a great athlete, right? He's a guy that we've seen time and time again with the horrendous offensive line that he had at Colorado that could consistently make something out of nothing. Extend the play, escape in the pocket, run around in circles, jack it up down the field. He's got a pretty accurate arm, I will give him that. And he had some great weapons at his disposal during his time at Colorado as well. Over 4,100 yards, 37 touchdowns, just 10 interceptions last year. 64 touchdowns and 13 interceptions in his last 2 years at Colorado and completed over 74% of his passes. So he's an extremely accurate quarterback. You just looked at the numbers there. Only 13 interceptions in the last 2 years. He does take very good care of the football. And the thing with Sanders is, again, I think he's a good athlete. I think he's accurate, but is he going to have the line to protect him? Is he going to fit well in the system? Is he going to be coachable? He's only had his father as a coach, right? That's something that's very interesting to me. He's only had his dad as a coach throughout his collegiate career. How's that going to translate to the NFL? Being coached by somebody else, knowing you can't listen to Deion Sanders, you have to listen to whoever your coach is by whoever drafts you. Going up against NFL defenses and not Big 12 defense or Pac-12 defenses. So I'm very interested to see his transition to the league. I'm not completely sold on him. I don't think he's a franchise guy, but someone is going to attempt to make him that in the first round. Jackson Dart, there's a pretty big drop-off there, right? Cam Ward's going to go first. Sanders is going to go probably first round. And then after that, there aren't that many great talents there, right? Like Dart was good at Ole Miss. He was very good at Ole Miss. He's very athletic. Had over 1,500 rushing yards in 3 years with the Rebels. He was a perfect fit for Lane Kiffin's offense. Very fast, up-tempo, wants to score a lot, wants to air it out a lot. Couple design QB runs in there, which he was able to succeed on. But is that going to translate to the league? Is he a guy that I look at and go, oh yeah, Jackson Dart can be a franchise quarterback for the next 10 to 15 years with whoever drafts him? I don't think so. I don't think that style of play that he's learned under Lane Kiffin is going to translate to the NFL unless he inherits a team that has the weapons and the philosophy to do just that. Can he solely become a pocket passer? We saw this guy, again, just like Cam Ward, just like Shadur Sanders, but Jackson Dart maybe a little bit more, escape the pocket a little bit more, run the ball a little bit more. 52 touchdowns and 11 interceptions the last 2 years with the Rebels is really, really good. Cam Ward, Shadur Sanders, Jackson Dart, all taking very, very good care of the football. And that is something you're watching out for. Guys who have a high football IQ, who do take care of the ball, don't make mistakes, don't try to force it or anything like that. But is Jackson Dart really the guy that can come out there and do that against NFL-level defenses? Many are going to go, oh, he was doing it against SEC defenses. That's the second best thing to the NFL, right? The SEC is so elite. It just means more. They're so much better. Maybe so, but I'm not completely sold that he is a first-round pick by any means. Many people think he could go to the Steelers, maybe as early as the first round, maybe later, but I just don't know if Jackson Dart is going to be that guy that can be a multi-year starter in this league. And the same can be said for Tyler Shough as well. Got a great frame. He's the tallest of the quarterbacks we've mentioned so far, sitting at 6'5", but he's a guy that's battled tons of injuries throughout his career. Finally stayed healthy for the majority of the year during his last year at Louisville. Battled injuries all the time during his time at Oregon and Texas Tech. He was 6 years, guys. He was in college for 6 years. Oregon, Texas Tech, Louisville. And this last year with the Cardinals was the first time that he topped over 1,600 passing yards because, again, he was injured time and time again throughout his career. Threw for over 3,100 yards, 23 touchdowns, just 6 interceptions. He's got a very strong arm, really good deep ball. I think Tyler Shough is actually very underrated in that category. Maybe could be a steal, if you want to call him that, in what could be a 3rd, 4th, 5th round selection. But again, you are an NFL scout. You're looking at him and going, yeah, he's got some talent there, but do we want to waste a pick, especially an early one, on a guy who has proven he cannot stay healthy? So that's a concern there. There is talent, there is good size, there is a good frame, there is a good arm, but can he deliver? Those are the 4 top quarterbacks you could argue entering this draft. Then you've got other guys, right? You've got other guys outside of this class, but people aren't talking enough about them because they're not going to be long-term starters. Do you think Jalen Milroe is going to be a long-term starter in the NFL? 16 touchdowns, 11 interceptions his last year at Alabama. He took a big of a step back in year 1 under Kalen DeBoer and did not have a great year for himself, nor did Alabama have a great year by their standards. Yes, he's a dual-threat quarterback. That's great, but only a few of those guys can truly succeed in the NFL. We have to worry about Milroe's accuracy and decision-making. Will Howard, he's over here saying, you're going to regret it if you don't take me. Like viral clips saying, draft me, you're going to regret it. Yada, yada, yada. How many times have we heard that from so many players over the last few years, not just quarterbacks? and then we forget their name after draft day, right? Yes, Will Howard did win a national championship with the Buckeyes. Yes, he threw for over 4,000 yards, 35 touchdowns, just 10 interceptions. But there were 9 games last year with Ohio State. 9 games last year where he threw for less than 250 yards. Less than 250 yards. So unless he gets drafted to a team that's got a pretty dang good running game or a very elite defense, just like Ohio State had, not really the guy I think can go out there and lead me to victory, can lead me to the playoffs, lead me to the Super Bowl. Yes, he's accurate, completed over 73% of his passes, but I'm not sure he's going to be the guy to deliver. I'm not sure Will Howard, again, after a mediocre, maybe slightly above average tenure at Kansas State, and then a year where, yes, he did win a national title, but really, did he come through and win the national title, or was it everybody else? Again, not discrediting him, but he's not a guy that I think can come in here and deliver in the league. Then you've got Quinn Ewers, and you've got Dylan Gabriel, then you've got Kyle McCord, all guys that have fantastic collegiate careers, but clearly are working themselves down the draft board, not up. Their draft stock staying here or going down. Again, just because you have a great college career doesn't mean it's going to translate to a great NFL career. And those guys will get drafted. They'll get drafted in later rounds. And who knows, maybe one of them will become the next Brock Purdy or the next Tom Brady. They get selected in the 6th or 7th round and is forgotten until day 3 and gets their pick shown during a Taco Bell commercial. But the odds of that are probably pretty slim. The odds of that are probably not very high. This is not a good quarterback class. Don't let anybody else tell you differently. I'm not saying they're all going to fail. I'm not saying they're all going to be busts. I'm not saying they're all going to be out of the league in 2 years. But I do not believe that the majority of these quarterbacks, not even maybe 2 of these quarterbacks, can be franchise guys in the National Football League. I'm not feeling that confident about it. This is not a very strong class. Nowhere near the classes we've seen in recent years. Nowhere near the one we saw last year. Nowhere near the one we saw back in 2020. It's just not there. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we do see a lot of success out of these guys. They were fantastic to watch in college. I always hope that we see more success from them at the next level. But this year, not really feeling it. And that's why if I were an advisor, I'd be advising a lot of NFL franchises right now to hold off on this year's quarterback class. If you're in a quarterback need, hold off this year. Tank a little bit more. What's one more year? And then wait till next year when there should be a better class. And maybe you can find someone in free agency if you don't like that either. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Leave your thoughts below. What do you think about this year's quarterbacks as we progress closer and closer to the start of the NFL Draft? And of course, we'll have coverage for you the rest of this week right here on the channel. All of them a reason to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below, including our website, thegridironexpert.com, home to the expert picks, home to our newsletters, home to tons of exclusive content that you do not want to miss out on as we get closer and closer to the start of this season. Because again, we are talking football with you year-round right here at our channel. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.